why? Why does it matter? Okay. Like I said, it leads to accurate seams and perfect things. It prevents errors. I mean, once you make an error and you're always backtracking and trying to fix that error.
Yes,
so
you are.
Then
it just multiplies through the whole quilt.
It gets you more.
Yeah.
And once you have it all done, then sometimes it's hard to fix it afterwards, after you've done something.
Sometimes with piecing, imperfect piecing, we can fix that, but we can't really fix imperfect cutting, can we?
No.
Yeah.
And so I have made an example today, and this is actually a 9-patch that I've put together. Okay? I will tell you that I cut them however I wanted. I kind of think I did.
Did you use scissors? Gasp the horrors.
No, I didn't. So I just cut 3.5-inch squares. Okay. And I was not precise. I didn't quite make it to the 3.5-inch line. I really purposely did not, and actually it was just very slightly off. Okay. So imagine if I've cut all of these slightly off, then I'm going to run into problems. Right. So let me pay your attention to this seam right here. If you look at my seam, they're not quite.
Those
they're
points
just
aren't very good, Jacki.
The points are bad.
Oh, you should be
I should be ashamed, right?
Heaven forbid.
I would throw this away because I can't handle that. But I ever so slightly cut them a little bit. Some a little bit bigger and some just, I mean, we're talking maybe a thread or two.
Sure.
Okay. But then that resulted in this problem that I had. Then on the other side, I didn't sew this because I wanted to show you that I nested these seams. But if you can kind of see, not only does it not line up on the edge, I've got a little extra right here. And I've got a little overage on this side.
Right.
But look at my middle, okay?
Yeah.
I've got some puckering going on here. So either I'm going to have to, I've got this little, it doesn't lay flat together. So I'm going to have to either, squeeze that tight to get it together, or pin so much that I'm not going to get puckers as I'm sewing.
And say, please, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please.
Yes.
And then you get done and it puckers and you have to unpick it. And start over.
Yes. So
in a way, you kind of have a choice that you're either going to get that or there's choices, but they're not good choices.
Right.
It's like
you always have
puckers,
choices.
puckers are off or not.
Well, and that's true.
So what would you say to help with this?
All right. So first of all, you need some good tools. Okay.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I'm not going to worry about this anymore. I'm done with that one.
But if you are a new quilter, it is okay to do that quilt that first time that way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You'll learn.
Absolutely.
You'll learn.
So some things that you may want to have with you as you're cutting is, of course, a cutting instrument.
Yes.
So we all love the rotary blade. Not to mention, the rotary blade needs to be sharp.
So important.
Yes. So we also need some acrylic rulers. So there are so many different acrylic rulers out there. All right? So whatever one you like, I think it comes down to a personal preference. And what ones
maybe
you can
the size
see.
of the project.
And the size of the project as well.
Yeah.
So then you also need a cutting mat, a self-healing cutting mat. And I also think moves on into fabric preparation, which I think is another thing that's really important, that we prepare our fabric ready for cutting.
Sure.
So that would be squaring it up, that would be pressing it and making sure that it's nice and pressed. I always use spray press before I cut anything. It helps me with cutting, and I think that I have more precision cutting when I use a spray press.
Yeah, definitely.
Whatever one you would like.
So I'm seeing another big ruler here. Tell us about what's happening underneath.
Well, I'm going to talk about this too.
Rulers.
Yes, this is another one that is on my really close to my sewing table is this strip cut ruler, because in quilting we are always stripping, right?
Wow.
Yeah, whoa, everybody perked up. I know that what I'm talking about may not be all exciting, but if you can strip, hey, there you go.
Do this.
So hopefully I have your attention now.
Okay.
All right. Now you're awake.
Come on.
Yes, so I love this one. I use this one all the times for when I'm doing strips and also when I'm doing squares. If I have a pattern like the one that we will show in theme 3, there's a lot of small squares, and there's a lot of strips that you could use with this, and it would make it a lot quicker.
So what's the benefit of having something that big on top of your fabric?
Well, not only holds your fabric down when you've got, then you're just going straight up.
Yeah.
And it's cutting all of the layers. So imagine with me when you've got fabric and you're using just a small ruler. You'd make one cut. Is it the next cut going to be exactly perfect?
It might not be.
It may not be.
Yeah.
It may not be.
Especially if you have to move that ruler.
There are different scenarios that will happen when you're trying to do that.
Well, I just look at this and I'm like, look at the surface area
Right.
that you have holding still.
Yes,
Like,
it's not going.
Every
it's
time
not
you
going
bring
anywhere.
that ruler up, you have a chance of a little whiff of air getting in there, right?
It's true, and it will always.
Yeah.
Fabric has a mind of its own, and so sometimes it will ever so slightly move, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, especially when you're cutting in layers.
Yeah.
So this is what is really wonderful about that, and that's why I brought that today because I thought it was great.
Does fabric usually come off the bolt crooked?
Oh, it always is so perfect, don't you think?
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will never come off straight.
No.
I just cut a brand new bolt and I was like, there was a 3-inch difference.
Wow.
And I was like, this one is terrible.
True. Well, it's true. And not only does it, but the fold sometimes is always crinkled, and there's always issues with the fold. I actually chose this one and it was okay. But like there are folds in here, and a lot of times I will get some where the selvages are at least 2 inches away from each other.
Sure.
So as it's rolled on, it's not rolled on perfectly.
Okay.
So I always like to make sure that once I press all of my fabric with spray starch or something, then I'll put my selvages together.
Okay.
Okay. So I will put them together. This one's not quite. Then from here, then I'm going to fold it. I'm going to fold it again, so that I've got my fold and my selvages are
So I saw you give it a little shake.
Yes.
And I, in my head, I'm like, that's something I don't do, but I'm like, I know what it does to the fabric.
Yes.
It's getting it all lined up.
Yes,
It's
it
getting rid
is.
of that, what is it, waft and wafter.
The warp and the weft.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
Just have smart friends.
Yes.
That's all you need to do.
I'm going to square. That comes up to the next thing with squaring up the fabric. Now you can square your fabric with it open this way, but which is what I usually do, but because we are in such a small area today, I'm going to do it this way, but I'm going to tell you something that one of my first quilting teachers taught me how to do, is you take 2 rulers, two long rulers. I have 2 of these. I actually do not use my mat as a guide.
Okay.
I only use my rulers.
I saw someone else mention that too.
I only use my rulers. I know that the mats are wonderful, and I use that to kind of line it up at the beginning too, to kind of make sure it's straight. But I do not cut off of what my mat is. So I take 2 rulers. This is almost like a T-square in the construction business, in the building business. So I will. And this, which I love, this one has stuff on it already. A lot of rulers come with the grippy type spray on them. So then I will slide it over as close as I can. I will take my other one. This is where I will line it up on the fold. So I know my fold is straight here.
Yes.
I'm going to butt this ruler right up against here. So then I know that I'm going to have a good square to go off.
I have never done this.
Have you?
Yeah.
This has been one of my
All of my
favorite
projects
things.
are wonky.
start over.
Start over.
Yes.
Throw them out.
Yes. So I
Next
think
one.
right.
The next one.
So a lot of your cuts depend on just this really quick and easy thing.
Starts from the beginning.
It starts from the
does.
beginning. Okay.
Cut
Do
into
not
yourself.
cut this way.
No sawing.
No, no sawing either. Okay. So some people might have a, what are they called? The grippy handle
Yes.
or whatever. Those are really nice so that you don't get your fingers in the way.
Yes.
But you want to make sure that you've got some good pressure on your ruler as you are cutting. I've got a really sharp blade, and I love this Femore.
Oh, yes, I do too.
You want to make sure your blade, you don't cut it this way, you don't cut it this way, you cut it directly straight. And do you have to put a lot of pressure on it?
You shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't have to if you have a
If you've
really
got a
good.
nice-
And your
But-
pressure needs to be down and not.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
a hard
And
thing.
so
I
see,
think.
look at this.
Yeah.
This
Because you
bleed
didn't have the
because I
pressure
didn't
all
have the
way
pressure
through.
all the way through.
Okay.
So I just will cut that, and that's how I square up my fabric. Then from there you can cut them into the different
Yeah.
sizes
that.
that you need for whatever you need to do.
Goodness.